In this video, I will rank every single automatic farm in Minecraft on a tier list, all the way from simple wheat farms to some of the most obscure ones you can think of. This is the ultimate Minecraft farm tier list. Also subscribe and smash like for a heart in the comments. And now on to the tier list. This tier list has 5 tiers: OP, useful, good, alright, and why. And I'll start off with a generic one: the general mob farms. Everyone has likely built them at some point in their life. You decided that killing mobs was too inefficient for you. You gathered your cobblestone and whatever other ugly blocks you could find to make the worst abomination ever conceived. But you did get a lot of mob drops. But as you build better and better mob farms, they become incredibly useful. Useful tier: gold farms. These are some of the best farms out there in my opinion. They can get you stupid amounts of XP when done correctly. And gold can be used for decoration or trading with piglins for free stuff. Gold farms aren't even that hard to build, yet yield great results. OP tier: bamboo farms. This is usually attached to a furnace array or super smelter because bamboo is a great fuel source in large enough quantities. On its own, bamboo isn't great once you get a bit of it, but some people just like their bamboo. Good tier: bat farms. Please just pause the video now. Get up from your crusty chair. Walk to the nearest exit of the building you're in. And touch some grass. Please. Y tier: beetroot farms. This farm is pointless. No one likes beetroot. No one cares about beetroot. No one eats beetroot. Y tier: beetroot farms again. You really think that having it on here will change my rating of it? Well, yes. Alright tier: blaze rod farms. This can be a good one for later in the game when you do more potion brewing. This is because whenever you brew an item, it uses blaze powder as fuel, which can be crafted from blaze rods. Useful tier: bone meal farms. This farm is made by having composters and a hopper set up so that whenever you place plant matter, it creates bone meal every so often. These farms aren't usually super efficient, but they're good to have running in the background, just like my YouTube videos. Good tier: bread farms. This is for when you are too lazy to craft bread yourself. So you hire villagers to farm your field, and then you bring a hungry buddy to collect the bread. And then you perform a tactical borrowing as the villager throws the bread to the hungry villager, and then you get free bread which you're never gonna eat, so it's all good. Good tier: brown mushroom cow farms. These are a bit niche, but similar to the mushroom farm, spoiler warning ahead, you can milk it to get mushroom stew an infinite amount of times, so you have an infinite food source. Alright tier: cactus farms. The cactus farm is usually used for fuel for furnaces, and not much else, unless you need a ton of green dye. Whatever the reason is, these farms are very easy to set up, only requiring cacti, slabs, and fences. Good tier: carrot farms. Similar to the bread farm, we have our unpaid eternal interns plant and harvest the field, and when they are ready to feed their families, we heavily tax them to ensure that they don't die. Alright tier: cat farms. You may need to see a therapist if you make these, but regardless, if you kill cats you get string, and iron farms can have the added benefit of doubling as a cat farm, so most of you have already unintentionally made a cat farm in your world already. But I hope that no one would go out of their way to farm cats. I mean, dogs are better, but string is only useful to a point. And besides, you can get string from piglin bartering anyways. Y tier: cave spider farms. Basically the exact same thing as a normal spider farm, but they're a little bit smaller, faster, and they inject venom. So basically you just get string. Alright tier: charcoal farms. I assume that this farm is basically where you just have hoppers with wood going into a furnace to make charcoal. I guess it would be useful early game, but I would just use coal personally. Alright tier: charged creeper farms. This one's a bit out there, but basically you trap creepers in a cage and bring a lightning rod to strike the creeper, turning it into a charged creeper. Once you get a few mob heads, it becomes a lot less useful, and personally, I just use a channeling trident. Y tier: chicken farms. Automatic chicken cookers can be a great early game automatic form of food. They are simple to set up and expand. They grant cooked chicken and feathers. Useful tier: chorus flower farms. This is a chorus fruit farm where we only allow the chorus to grow a block or two high, so that it can have a higher chance of spawning flowers, and then we can harvest them. Alright tier: now that brings me on to chorus fruit farms. Just like the last one, but without extra steps. It lets the chorus grow and then harvest it. Not much else. Pretty simple. Alright tier: cobblestone farms. This farm is a great way to get blocks fast, especially when hooked up to a blast chamber. These farms are simple yet effective. You need cobblestone a lot more than you might think for crafting. I might even go as far to say as this farm is an OP tier. OP tier: cocoa bean farms. This isn't really useful unless you really like brown dye or cookies, which some individuals do, or if you just really hate parrots. Alright tier: coral fan farms. If you're making an underwater build or a really large aquarium and you don't want it to look like I built it, this is the farm for you. Simple yet efficient, it gets the job done. I might have to give it a good tier because my low dopamine brain likes bright colors, so good tier. Cow farm. I like steak, in Minecraft and real life. I had it a few days ago. It was great, thanks for asking. but in Minecraft it's also a great food source. A little bit more complex than chicken farms, but still manageable. Good tier. Creeper farms. These farms are great for many reasons. They're useful for firework rockets, TNT, and probably something else I'm forgetting. They can be difficult to build, especially if you choose to go with a design that requires cats, but it's well worth it. Useful tier. Wolf farms. This is where you have a bunch of portals set up in the overworld so that as soon as wolves spawn in, they get sent to the nether. Once in the nether, they free up the spawning area for wolves so you can easily tame a bunch of them. Alright tier. Drown farms. These are mainly used for tridents unless you're a psychopath, in which case hi, please don't hurt my family. And this farm is relatively easy to build. It's just a zombie farm but with extra steps. You transport the zombies through the water to make them into drowns, and they might have a trident. Good tier. Egg farms. Similar to the chicken farm, where we don't kill the chickens. We just let them lay eggs to make more chickens to make more eggs. It's the circle of eggs. Good tier. Endermite farms. I hate endermites. Y tier. Ender Pearl farms. This can be a great source of XP once you reach the end. Pearls can also be useful for combat as well as many other things. They can be hard to build because you have to build them far away from the end island near the void, and you have to get an endermite to actually cooperate. But they are well worth it once you finish them. OP tier. AFK fishing farms. These used to be good, but they've been nerfed a lot. I don't know much about their current state, but you can get enchanted books. But in my opinion, it's not really worth it. Just go with villagers. Y tier. Fish farms. Fish can be good, but they aren't the best source of food in Minecraft. There are much better ones like the chicken cooker I mentioned previously. Y tier. Flower farms. These are actually a lot more useful than you might think. You can get a lot of different types of dye with them with not a lot of effort. Useful tier. Gas farms. These are good for end crystals and respawning the ender dragon or crystal PvP. And you also get a little bit of gunpowder on the side, which is a nice added bonus. Useful tier. Piglin bartering farms. This farm can give you a lot of different items pretty quickly, and when you combine it with the gold farm, it can become very efficient. OP tier. Grass farms. Most of your epic gamer selves have probably never heard of this one, and I have limited knowledge on this. But from what I do know, this is basically a machine that helps you bone meal and shear grass very quickly to effectively touch grass. OP tier. Guardian farms. This one's also a great source of XP like the gold farms, but this one gives you fish and prismarine building materials, so if you're making a stereotypical ocean base, then this farm is a must-have. Useful tier. Hero of the village farms. Some of you may not know, but when a raid is defeated and a bunch of villagers are near, they start throwing you some gifts. The farm collects them and repeats the process over and over again. Good tier. Honeycomb farms. This is a less useful honey bottle farm. Honeycombs are used to make honeycomb blocks, beehives, and lightly weathered wax-cut copper stairs. The setup is similar to the honey bottle farm, but use shears instead of bottles in the machine. Alright tier. Which brings me on to honey bottle farms. These are very useful for one reason and one reason only. Honey bottles craft honey blocks, which make redstone a whole lot easier for reasons I will not get into in this tier list. Maybe I'll make a redstone tier list. Comment down below if I should. Useful tier. Ice farms. These farms are usually pretty big because the ice still needs to freeze naturally. But if you've already mined up every single close ice spikes and iceberg biomes, you might want to consider making this. Ice is used for a lot more than you might realize. If you have any sort of high-tech storage system, which can include farms, it probably uses ice. Useful tier. Ink sac farms. I don't see much point in killing Squidward because the Wither Rose farm is a much cooler way to get black dye. Y tier. Iron farms. This is one of my favorite farms in the game. I hate building them, but I've done it so many times. They're just so useful later in the game for hoppers and other crafting recipes. And some people have made crazy iron farms over the past couple years. OP tier. Sugarcane farms. These are useful for paper to make firework rockets. And since zero-tick farms were patched, they now need to be made huge to be efficient. But they're still pretty good. Useful tier. Kelp farms. These are usually for furnace fuel to make dried kelp, which makes dried kelp blocks, which is an amazing fuel source. Besides that, not much point. Alright tier. Leaf farms. Just shear the leaves. You do not need that many leaves. Nobody needs that many leaves. Y tier. Melon farms. This farm could be useful for trading the melons with villagers, similar to the pumpkin farm coming up. Good tier. Mob head farms. This is a charged creeper farm, but with extra steps. Alright tier. Mushroom farms. This is exactly the same as the brown mushroom farm in the beginning, but the cow is red and not brown. Not that there's anything wrong with brown cows. Alright tier. Mule farms. This might get a bit graphic, kids, so fair warning. When a mommy donkey and a... never mind. Donkey plus horse equals mule. You'll figure it out eventually. Y tier. Mushroom farm. These are often kinda inefficient and no one really cares that much about mushrooms. Sorry Mario. Y tier. Music disc farms. This is where you trap a skeleton with a good bow and try and get creepers in a pod where they can be shot by the skeleton. If the skeleton successfully kills the creeper, you will get a music disc. Kinda cool, I guess. Check out the music disc tier list after this, by the way. Good tier. I think I might have to make the tier list a little bit smaller because this is a pretty big tier list. Anyways, netherwort farms. This is basically where you plant netherwort and then harvest it. Very big brain. Alright tier. Obsidian farms. These farms usually involve the wither or a player mining either the regenerating end platform or the regenerating end pillars automatically, and it's pretty efficient. Useful tier. Passive mob farms. This farm is just a pain to build to the point where it's not efficient, and it's just faster and better to build individual ones in my opinion. Y tier. Phantom farms. We'll just put this one down there. Pig farms. Pork chops are a great source of food, but please get them from hoglins, not pigs. Speaking of hoglins, I don't think this list goes past 1.15. So I guess I might have to make an updated version if this does well. Smash like and leave a comment if you want me to do that. Y tier. I think these next two are both pillager farms, or maybe a pillager banner farm, I don't know. But they're pretty good when coupled with a raid farm. I'll put them both in useful tier. Potato farms. Many people love farming potatoes, but we can have the villagers do that for us, just like in the bread and carrot farms. OP tier. Pumpkin farms. Exactly the same as melon farms, but useful for Halloween decorations as well. Good tier. Rabbit farms. Please don't kill the rabbits. Y tier. Raid farms. These are just insane. So many emeralds, so many totems, redstone gunpowder, and even sticks. Just an amazing farm. 10 out of 10. OP tier. Sapling farms. Typically people don't get a farm for them, they're just part of a tree farm and get recycled, but I mean I guess you can farm them, don't really see why though. Y tier. Scoot farms. Poor turtles. Anyways, they make turtle armor. Alright tier. Seed farms. Just touch grass instead of seeds, please. Y tier. Sheep farms. Similar to cow and pig, but less beneficial. The sheep aren't really that good for their meat, they're meant for wool. Y tier. Silverfish farms. Nope. Skeleton farms. Good for bones and arrows. Sometimes bows. Good tier. Slime farms. These are great for slime blocks. I am running out of interesting commentary, please make it stop. Useful tier. Snowballs. Just get a shovel. Don't be lazy. Go outside. Y tier. Spider farms. Just like the cave spider farm, but a little bit less deadly. Alright tier. Stone farm. A cobblestone farm, but not quite. Good tier. I think that's supposed to be a stray farm. I mean, it's good if you want slowness arrows, otherwise just make a skeleton farm. Alright tier. Sweetberry farms. These are actually more useful than you might think. They can be used for villager trading and they look pretty cool. But please don't use them for food. They're almost as bad as beetroot in terms of food. Good tier. Tall bush farms. I mean, it exists if you want a lot of high flowers. Alright tier. Tree farms. Great for wood to make chests and storage system and other purposes where you need a lot of wood. Useful tier. Turtle egg farms. These are useful for gold farms to attract the pigmen to fall to their doom, but turtles can be a pain to work with. Good tier. Villager farms. I think this is referring to trading halls, but either way they're great. Villager trading allows you to get almost every possible enchantment in the game pretty easily, and killing villagers is very fun when they don't give you a good deal. OP tier. Vine farms. What is bro doing with all those vines? Y tier. Wandering trader farms. I am in great support of farming him and killing him, but not using him for resources. Good tier if it's killing him. Water bottle farms. Also known as a puddle on the ground, but it's a good way to stay hydrated. Speaking of which, I can see through your computer screen right now and you are dehydrated. Go drink some water. You have 5 seconds. Welcome back. Water bottle farms are an OP tier because hydration is a W. Wheat farms. You know the deal. Hardworking villager works hard all day every day to feed his family, only to be stolen from by the greedy capitalist players. Alright tier. Witch farms. These used to be amazing for the redstone and gunpowder drops, but now I have super mega hyper efficient raid farms to do that, and raids contain witches. So unfortunately I'm gonna have to bump this down to an alright tier. It would be an OP if it was back in the olden days. Wither rose farms. The cooler version of the Squidward squisher. Wither rose farms involve the wither being caged, usually in a gateway, firing at an entity. When an entity is killed by the wither, they drop a wither rose. Usually chickens are used because you can get a lot of them very easily. Useful tier. Wither skeleton skull farms. Or wither farms, I don't know. Either way pretty useful. Wither skeleton skulls can summon the wither, and the wither drops the nether star, which can craft bacon. Bacon allows the player to gain permanent buffs so long as they're near it. Useful tier. Wood farms. This is a tree farm. Useful tier. Wool farms. This is what sheep should be used for instead of meat. They can be used for builds, banners, carpets, and much more. Overall, pretty useful farm to have passively running in the background. Good tier. XP farms. These come in many forms, some of which I talked about earlier in the video. Experience points are essential for enchanting and progressing throughout the game. OP tier depending on what it is. Zombie farms. This is the classic farm that most people make when they first learn how to make a spawner-based farm, and they're pretty cool. I've definitely made a couple of them throughout my lifetime. Alright tier, smash like, subscribe. Insert cool outro here. Watch this video or else. Unless I forget to put it in the end screen. Then don't watch it, I guess. But if I did, you better click on it. Click on it. Get out of here.